Are you writing a research paper? And do you want to attract and keep your users' attention? Today we're discussing how you can use the art of storytelling to bring your users into your work, keep them engaged, and as a special bonus, we're going to use pictures to keep our readers focused. Join me for AI After Hours with Dr. AJ on this introduction to a special new series on research paper writing. There are some things that will make your paper much more engaging. There are 3 things to keep in mind as you craft your paper with a view to storytelling. The first is to have an overarching story arc, almost like a guided journey, an action-adventure story. The second is to teach your story using examples, especially if your subject is somewhat arcane, complex, abstract, convoluted. And the third is to use pictures. And yes, by the way, those are indeed roosters in the background. They're feral in the area. We're going to approach this topic more later, but ideally, you write your text around the figures. Think story time for children, okay? Doesn't matter how brilliant or how respected your audience member is. They're tired, they're stressed, they're distracted, just like you, okay? Everybody's getting the COVID whammy. So when you're trying to engage your children and you're reading them a story, you pick a story with pictures, right? Pictures. When you are writing, write around pictures. That means that for every major section, ideally, you have a picture that tells the story. It could be sort of a dynamical flow of work process. It could be an organization of the main concepts. It's different for every section, and preferably for every subsection. And for example, with the book that I'm writing right now, I'm trying to have it set up so that on every 2 pages, so when you're opening it up and looking at it physically, or every other page as you're going through in an e-reader, there's a figure. There's something that engages the visual aspect of attention. I'm going to use as an example here a situation that I ran into this morning while I was editing a book chapter in the book that I'm writing. As a brief aside, if you want a copy of the book in its draft chapter form, go to my website, that's alianajmoran.com, and click on the book menu option, scroll down just a little bit, and then you'll see an option to click for the table of contents. And you go there, and then you can select the chapter that you want. There's both chapter drafts and a fair bit of supplemental material. Back to our main topic. This book is about the statistical mechanics that is necessary to understand deep learning. And I'm working on a particular chapter that is really kind of arcane and abstract. And I was going to use one kind of physics as an example to explain another. Well, of course, that doesn't go over that easy for most people. So when I reread what I had written after kind of a long time of not having seen it, I realized, oh my gosh, even I don't want to read this. So I realized right away that I needed a picture right here. I'd taken the first right step. I'd created an example to teach something that was complicated. It's just that when I read my example, I realized that itself was so abstract that I needed to break it down further and make a picture. Fueled with a fresh cup of coffee and early morning energy, it took less than an hour to make that picture and get it inserted and make the whole chapter start a lot more interesting and readable. And by the way, when you're making your pictures to insert into a document, be sure to write a really good figure caption. You want it to be possible for your reader to understand the essence of that figure from the caption alone. They shouldn't need to go hunting around in the text to figure out what that figure is about. Notice, if you would, that in giving you this example, I've also told you a story. I told you the story about noticing something and taking steps to fix it, and also how it felt like I was energized with fresh morning air and good coffee. That's a story. So you can use storytelling surprisingly in your research work. I'll give some examples in the next set of vids. So let's sum up. There are 3 things to be aware of as we write our papers. First, we want to use the idea of storytelling to guide our development. Secondly, When we have complicated things to explain, let's use examples. And third, to make things easy for our readers, let's use figures or pictures as much as we can. They can help us with storytelling. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Aliana J. Morin, in AI After Hours, in this first of a series of YouTubes on how to write an effective research paper. If you've enjoyed this, please do the usual. Like, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I'll see you next time. Till then, bye now.